Chapter 3. Time, Gentlemen, Please. Clavlin Hopper and Brent Lagwater were inseparable, quite literally partners in crime, and had been so since they were toddlers. They were neighbours as young children, and are still neighbours now. Well, at the present moment they're cellmates, but when they're free on their home planet of Marselius, they still live within spitting distance of one another. They grew up together, went through school together and learned to steal together. They were kind of popular in prison, especially Brent, who was particularly easygoing, but also Clav was generally good fun unless you pissed him off in the slightest. If that happened, then he could soon make your life a living hell. He had a short fuse, was unreasonable, stupid and brandished a fiery temper, so it was always good to keep Brent on your side, as he was practically Clavlin's tamer when he got a little wild. They were so different that they seemed a perfect match in many ways. Where Clav was a natural-born idiot with limited functioning brain cells, Brent was quite intelligent and a natural thinker. Yet despite Brent being the brains, he was also the brawn too. Clav was a large fellow, but his size was leaning towards being unhealthily overweight, whereas Brent was solid, was regularly maintaining his tone in the gym. Clav was easily led, and was always making new friends and criminal associates, both in and out of prison. Whereas Brent was far more weary and thoughtful when getting to know others. He could count the people he completely trusted on one hand. Well, on one finger actually, and sad to say that it wasn't even Clav. Clav would smell opportunity and leap towards it, especially if it promised money or drugs, but Brent would see the perils that they may face and try to steer clear of them. Okay, so in all honesty, Brent hadn't done the greatest job of steering clear of perils, having found himself constantly in and out of prison throughout most of his life, but he did try. Clav was proud of his criminal lifestyle, and would even steal from his own family to make a few extra credits. Brent was ashamed of his criminal activity and considered himself a decent and honest person, putting his unfortunate run-ins with the law down to circumstance. After all, he was dealt a bum deal. He lived in one of the roughest areas of one of the poorest planets, and he had Clav as a best friend. If that wasn't unfortunate circumstances, he didn't know what was. Clavlin was a scruffy type, always wearing threadbare clothes that he scrounged from clothesbank or stole from washing lines or received from Brent as hand-me-downs when fashions changed. Clav didn't care. He wasn't about being flashy and showy, not like Brent. Brent had to have his trendy comb-over mullet and chin-strap beard trimmed weekly. Clav would just shave his hair once every blue moon and grow it until he felt it brush his shoulders. At the moment, Clav's hair was just about covering his ears, whereas Brent sported the fashionable brown nylon slacks, tank tops and socks and sandals. Clav would wear trainers and jeans and t-shirts like some kind of ancient weirdo. But he didn't care. He was just happy to have clothes. But even here in prison, Brent took pride in his appearance. They wore the same attire as everyone else under their Gant lizard ponchos. Their electric blue jumpsuits with silver stripe down the seam and hefty metallic bracelets fashioned securely to their right wrist. Brent's uniform was always pristine, with pointy creases carefully ironed down the front of his legs. Clav's uniform, on the other hand, was always stained, torn and usually damp. Clav and Simon, the three-eyed Geneltesian guard, played the next round of New World poker, the disc of subterranean fungus sitting between the pair. It wasn't long before Clavlin cleaned up once again, taking the novice's prize catch and any hope that Simon had of winning his tokens back. Simon had thrown his cards across the table. The thought of losing again and facing the fact that he would not be able to afford a drink for the remainder of the month did not bode well with him, and he began to sob uncontrollably. Clav, on the other hand, was laughing hysterically when he snatched up the lump of fungus from the centre of the table. He raised it to his upper lip and inhaled an entire lungful of its microscopic spores. "Clav, watch it!" Simon warned. "That stuff isn't to be taken lightly." "Simon, guess what? I won, remember? It's mine, not yours, so fuck off." It was at this precise moment that an unexpected thing happened. The huge metallic band on Brent's wrist emitted a high-pitched whine, simultaneously lighting up an electronic blue. He raised his arm, pressed the flashing pad on the side and watched as a holographic image leapt into life from a tiny projector in the titanium strap. The dense dust particles in the Deltroid air made for a solid, almost lifelike projection. The flickering image, a young wet around the ears man in uniform, stood bolt upright and spoke loudly over the static, in a clear yet uncomfortable voice. "Brent Lagwater?" he asked. The two convicts shared a knowing look. The wristband wasn't a comlink, it was an electronic tag, a restraint. So this message could only mean one thing. Brent smiled. A smile he'd been waiting to wear for 18 months. Clav, however, looked distressed. "Brent Lagwater?" Yeah, CO number Alpha Quattro 77. Okay, that's enough. I know who you are," the young hologrammatic image said. "Time's up. Say your goodbyes and board the transport in an hour from now, please, sir." "Yes, sir." Brent saluted the child-faced officer in uniform before shutting the hologram down. He turned to his friend, who, red in the face and teary-eyed, obviously didn't share Brent's enthusiasm. "Bud," Brent offered a hand as simple condolence. When his friend didn't accept it, he added, "I'm sorry, Clav." "No f***ing way, you can't be leaving," Clav protested. "He'll have to face the parole board first," Simon informed the prisoners. "He's leaving," Clav said knowingly. "Not necessarily. He's leaving, you dick. Not if the parole board doesn't see fit." "Oh, are you a complete f***ing imbecile? He's leaving. He got the call, he's going. How often does the parole board keep people in here? The parole board is a f***ing joke. It doesn't matter what you say, they always let you go. Now will you cock off so I can say goodbye to my mate in peace, please? I've had enough of you, Simon. I've won your drinks token, your drugs, and I want it tear and share. Now I've no more use for you. So Simon, please f*** off." Oh, the three-eyed guard blinked in triplicate, perplexed, unwanted, a stark reminder to the side of the law that he was supposed to represent in this strange, desolate community. "Okay. Brent, good luck with the parole board. He's leaving." "Good luck out there then. F*** off already." "Clav," Brent remarked. "Simon, thanks." A brief handshake and Simon dispersed into the crowd and left the two friends alone. Clav was bitter, broken. He looked down at the floor. "Come on, man, don't cry." Clav sniffed. "Not f***ing crying, Brent. It's this shitty place. The f***ing dust gets in my eyes." After a moment's silence, beneath the rowdy murmur of the crowded room and the violent battering of the elements against the tin walls of the shelter, Clav finally looked up to his friend. "I'll be okay. It's you that's going to miss out." He held up the fungus. "It's a shame for you, because I am going to get f***ed up on this shit." His eyes seemed to roll around in their sockets. "In fact, I think I already feel it. Shame you can't take any with you." Brent shrugged, not really bothered. "It's fine. Not really my thing, you know. You keep it. I'm sorry to leave you, man, but I can't wait to get out of here. Get back on with my life. For real. Man, I wish you all the best, but I hope I don't get out for a while. This is the life, man. Stress-free, all the drinks I want, the thickest guards, the best drugs. What do I get on the outside but grief and shit and idiots trying to piss me off?" Then, as though the fabric of coincidence had been woven specifically against Clavlin's life pattern, a high-pitched whine piped up. The strap around Clav's own arm illuminated in the same electronic blue. His face darkened like thunder. 1,000 thoughts flitted through his mind, yet only one single word escaped his mouth. "Cock bollocks!" Brent could see the storm about to erupt, and was already restraining Clavlin before he could even think to destroy anything. "Clav, come on, calm down." "No way, no f***ing way, Brent. What about my tokens? My fungus, man, I ain't leaving without them. Your tokens are useless out there, buddy." "Yeah, but not in here, they're not." The whine sounded off again, and Clav thought that ignoring it may be the solution. Unfortunately, the scraggly voice of the young uniformed man called from the wristband. Clavlin Hooper! F off! Clavlin Hooper! I said f off! Is this inmate number Delta Alpha 00? No! Clav cut him off. Wrong number. The voice sounded stumped for a second. It is? It has to be. There's no way that you can unlawfully remove the tag from your wrist. So why f***ing ask then? Clav roared. It's my job to ask, the voice said in failed authority. Ooh, what an important f***ing job you've got, asking people their names and telling them to get on a transport. Your transport will be here in just under an hour, sir. Don't care, I won't be on it. Goodbye, sir. Shit off. The tag light faded, and Clav's chest heaved as he angrily worked up his breathing. Brent still clasped his arms around his friend, awaiting the inevitable. Fuck! Clav jeered through gritted teeth. Clav, Brent said soothingly. Don't fucking clav me, Brent. Don't you dare fucking clav me. Clav snarled. Those pricks can't do this to a man. Pick and choose when it's time for me to leave. I have rights, you know. I'm not fucking leaving. I have over a month's worth of drinks tokens. I have this fucking shroom which I can't smuggle out. I'm not giving it up, Brent. No fucking way. You don't have a lot of choice. That's easy for you to say with your ambition and your plans. I got nothing out there. I'm rich in here, Clav cried. Before Brent had the chance to stop him, Clav had popped the earthy disc into his mouth and swallowed it whole. You idiot, Clav. That much could kill you. By this time, Clav was getting irate and was drawing attention from all across the hut. Some guards made their presence known by simply standing closer to the commotion. Amongst them was Simon, his 3 eyes flicking from Clav to the tokens in Clav's hands as he approached. Come on, Clav. Give 'em up. You can f*** off if you think you're getting these back, Simon. I won them tear and share, remember? Well, you can't take 'em with you. No, Clav admitted, but I might just drink 'em all now. He marched over to the bar with Brent still hanging off of him, his feet trying to dig into the sticky alcohol-soaked carpet. Barkeep, Clav called. Yes, sir. The droid jutted and stuttered behind the bar until it jerked to a halt in front of Clav. Clav slammed the wad of tokens down on the table and stabbed his index finger into the middle of them. How many bottles of Cray can I get with these? The droid's mechanical eyes scanned the codes on the tokens and almost instantly replied, 28, sir. Then give me 28 bottles of Cray gin. Yes, sir. The droid picked up the tokens in his metal skeletal hands. Brent, always the voice of reason, shook his head, leant across the bar and snatched the tokens back out of the droid's hand. Clav, just forget it. Leave the tokens for the boys, eh? F*** the boys, Brent. Me and you are going to drink 28 bottles of Cray. Now. Clav tried to snatch the tokens out of Brent's hand, but he simply used his extra height and his arm length to raise them out of Clav's reach, positioning his huge frame in the way. A bit of a dance ensued, with Brent easily outmanoeuvring his clumsy friend. Give them here, you asshole! They're mine! With that, Simon saw his chance and swept in, and grabbed them from Brent's hand whilst he was distracted. The commotion seemed to come to a halt immediately. Brent cringed as Simon waved the tokens smugly in the air, his 3 eyes flashing with superiority. Not wise, Brent said. Well, he can't take them with him. Clav began to steam like a kettle. All observers moved back a few paces, and Brent shook his head. Simon, please, Brent said calmly. Let's not make this any worse than it, but it was too late. Clav leapt over Brent and crashed the bulk of his weight into the guard. Brent tried to restrain his friend by hanging off of his waist, but it was useless. When Clav saw red, he was practically unstoppable. I'm going to share them, I'm going to share them, Simon pleaded, but it only made matters worse. Clav repeatedly slammed Simon's head into the floor. Give them back, you f***ing dick. I won them tear and share, man. Tear and f***ing share. They can't go with you, Clav. That's not my fault, Simon said in between blows with the floor. Give them back. They're not yours anymore, you f***ing loser. Brent took a massive breath in and roared as he stepped up a notch in his struggle and managed to pull Clav and Simon apart. They fell backwards. Clav smacked his head on the metal bar on his way down, and the tokens fluttered up into the air, then rained down around them. The observing guards and inmates saw a chance, and the room erupted. It was a free-for-all. Everyone leapt at the tokens, climbing and clawing each other like feral ghouls, fighting for the last scrap of human brains, like the zombies that legend has it wiped out the ancient planet Earth. Needless to say, this riled Clavlin a great deal, and as he watched his tokens being swept up all around him, he didn't know in which direction to go first. He started rotating on the spot, windmilling his arms uncontrollably while shouting, "Give them back, you shitters! They're my f***ing tokens, you shitting shitters!" This was out of Brent's control now, and he casually backed away from the small riot and watched the carnage from a safe distance. Clav had surely lost all of his tokens, which Brent considered was probably a blessing in disguise. At least now Clav would be so pissed off with his fellow inmates that he would no longer want to stay in their company. At least now Brent wouldn't have to drag his friend kicking and screaming to the shuttle. Accepting defeat, Clav threw a few more mindless obscenities around the room before he slumped at the bar, panting in frustration. Eventually he turned round to face the ugly crowd of criminals as they settled from the scrum and pawed at their newfound wealth. "Thanks a f***ing lot," Clav jeered. "Well, you all think you're so f***ing clever, but you're not." And with that he leapt over the bar. The service droid jittered into life and made for Clav, his eyes flashing wildly. "Please sir, no unauthorized access inside the bar area." "F*** off," Clav blurted, lifting the droid off of the ground and holding it above his head for a few slow-motion moments in which Brent and the guards barely had time to register, let alone intervene. Clav thrust the machine down onto the floor. Its head sparked on impact, and it wriggled and writhed on its side like a mechanical insect struggling to get back on its feet. The guards edged forward in the crowd. Some even drew their laser cannons. "You're not going to shoot me, you dicks," Clav shouted. "You're not going to do anything, are you?" They kept their guns aimed at Clav, but eyed each other doubtfully, not knowing what to do. It was Simon who spoke first. "Clav, come on. Pick the droid up, get out of the bar area, and leave before this gets any worse." "And what if I don't? What if I smash your little droid to bits, Simon? What are you going to do then?" "It'd be out of my hands then, Clav, and you'd be in serious trouble." Clav just laughed manically, his eyes wild and vacant. "Ooh," he sang, "I want to stay here, you prick, so you can't threaten me with trouble." "Oh," Simon was stumped. "Just pick the droid up." "Like this?" Clav asked, lifting the droid from the floor and once again holding it above his head. "When does your next supply ship arrive, Guardy?" Brent could almost see the light bulb ping to life above his friend's head. This, he could tell, was going to get real f***ed up real quick. "Clav, no. If I can't have a drink, then neither can you," Clav said. And this time, Clav slammed the droid into the shelving behind the counter, disintegrating bottles of alcohol as he did so. With that, the guards started shooting. Clav ducked behind the counter, bottles smashing above his head. Inmates started rushing into the bar area to save what booze they could. Brent made his way in to rescue his friend from the riot, throwing punches at guards and inmates alike, knocking them out of his way and apologising as he did so. Thwack! "Sorry man, it's been good." Smack! "My bad. Look me up when you get out." Crack! "Nothing personal, Moody. I'll miss you guys." This continued until eventually Brent had somehow managed to successfully drag his pal all the way out through the crowd and into the torturous Deltroid air, where they were pelted by the debris that the harsh, unrelenting winds threw at them. They shielded themselves pathetically as they regretted not collecting their cloaks on the way out. At the time, finding the exit had been Brent's priority. Brent held his arms up to cover his head, squinting into the gritty weather as it beat him in the face. He shouted over the noise, "Every f***ing time we leave this happens, another f***ing riot. They all deserved it that time, Brent. Come on, man, let's just get to the transport." Brent stormed against the weather. He noticed that Clav wasn't moving so much as spacewalking on the spot. "Clav, come on!" "I'm trying," Clav called with frustration, "but I'm sinking into the floor." "What the f*** are you talking about, Clav? The ground's solid." Brent made his way back to his friend and grabbed him by the scruff of his neck. "Now will you get a move on? We got to get to the parole board." It was then that he noticed Clav's eyes, demonic and black like oil spills, his pasty complexion and his moronic grin, and he realised that just minutes before they were due to come under intense scrutiny by the parole board, that his friend had just lost his brain to the highly potent influence of Simon's nugget of subterranean fungus. "I am funkin' funked," Clav slurred. "Oh great." Brent sighed. Nice going, Clav.